Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror PSA presented by Scary Nerd, and as always, we are your hosts. I'm Paul.
I'm Saul.
And I'm Angie.
The following is a public service announcement.
When a nice new neighbor moves in next door, Charlie discovers that he is an ancient vampire who preys on the community. Can he save his neighborhood from the creature with the help of the famous vampire killer Peter Vincent? That's right, we watched Fright Night from 2011 to finish out our February Groundhog's Day marathon. I don't know what you'd call it.
Month.
But,
Revisit.
Remake Revisit.
Remake Revisit. There we go.
I have to say, I am 4 for 4 that I'm pleasantly surprised at how not bad this remake was.
This one was fun, and I really think that it stuck with the spirit of the original with its funness, but still had like really great horror thematics. But it was almost kind of like a critique on the genre, just like the first one was. Because I mean, they did make fun of Peter Vincent being like the old vampire guy.
I was like, is he just like Chris Angel?
Yes, and it's David Tennant just being like a Chris Angel douche, and it's
I
so
didn't
amazing.
realize it was David Tennant until Kim pointed it out. And then when he started taking everything off, I'm like, it's David Tennant.
I love when he's peeling stuff off and he's wiping his tattoos off his neck. It's so great.
He looked completely different after he took all this stuff off. Like even just like the mustache and the fake goatee or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, like, as he's just peeling away like all of his badassery off of his face. Because
when you first see him, I did not see David Tennant. I'm like, how is that David Tennant? And as soon as he took the wig off and he took the mustache off, I'm like, it's him.
Yeah.
Like, it's him.
No, I noticed him right away, and I think that is what I was like, oh, I know what kind of movie this is going to be, because it's just making fun of that whole kind of genre where horror went in the weird 2000s.
Yeah,
and
it definitely does that, and it definitely is. It's an updated version. Like that's who the Peter Vincents of the 80s. That's who they are today. It's like the Chris Angel types and all that kind of stuff.
I loved it though, because I think this one got more into the mythology too. It gave it a more deep backstory.
I love that his it gave him that he's what did he call him? I forgot what he said, but he's like he's replenishing his army, like,
his clan.
Like
he's
tribal. He's tribal. Like he makes his tribe or whatever, and he's gonna keep him for a few days, and then he turns them, and then they basically are under his control or his army bidding. Now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I love the little callbacks to the first one. The fruit.
Yes.
The apples.
Yes. I noticed it right away. I was like, he's eating apples. That's so funny.
I think it would have been a lot more funnier if when they bring in Chris Sarandon in the whole accident scene.
Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome.
If like he had like groceries or something and he had fruit or something.
Just eating an apple.
Yeah,
too,
like he was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, I love that he had his little cameo in there. But again, they weren't trying to directly rip off anything, and that's what makes a good remake a good remake, is where you take it somewhere new.
Their takes on a lot of the big plot points from the first one.
Yeah, like calling the cops and the cops not doing anything, like stuff like that. But no direct. It didn't feel like they were trying to rip anything off. It felt like they updated it.
It was updated, and it was also like the practical points. I feel like you would have had to call the cops. Like you would have had to do these things in order. Like it was the practical points from the first movie, and like even when they did the club scene, like it was still its own thing. Like it was still the club scene or whatever, and it still went down the way it did or whatever. But it wasn't like a direct rip off of the other one. Like it still felt its own
super
thing.
80s dance number.
Yeah, he didn't have his going out sweater.
Nope, he didn't. He left that one at home apparently.
Now, the thing I do have to say about this movie is I loved 80% of the movie. The only thing that I did not like was the ending. I didn't like it. I hated the ending. You
didn't like the ending? The only thing that I could have done without in this movie is Evil Ed didn't bother me until we got to the fight scene, and then they had that CGI fight scene. I was like, this could have been
It
not
was done.
There.
I thought it was done pretty bad because you see his arm get chopped off.
Yeah, and the CGI in this movie was not great.
It was 2011.
You can tell he had his arm tucked in because you could see it kind of like bowing out on the side.
And then they made him have like vampire face, but at times I was like, that doesn't even look like McLovin. Like,
no.
See, okay, here's my thing with vampire movies, and maybe I don't know if it's just because it was McLovin or not, but there are some people in this world that even if you were a vampire, I would not be intimidated by you. McLovin or CMP, whatever you want to call him, he is not. Yeah, he's not intimidating to me. And like he's perpetually a high schooler and perpetually, McLovin to us.
Yeah.
And like everyone is like, the guy's probably almost 40 fucking years old, and I was like, he's just a high school like McLovin.
No, he was actually.
No, I know he was really young, but I'm saying when he is 40 years old, I'm like, he's probably just getting to his 30s now or whatever. But I'm still like, you're always going to be a high school kid.
He's always going to be McLovin no matter
Webster
what
was always Webster to everyone, even though the guy was like 50 years old.
Yeah. Well, and then we also see a baby Franco. We got a little James Franco in this one.
He looked like he was he looked like fucking Eddie Munster in this movie.
He did. He was a baby.
The first time they showed him, like, is he supposed to be a werewolf in this movie?
Oh, but I liked the route that they took where Evil Ed wasn't necessarily always like
he wasn't as annoying as in this one as he was in the first one, because the first one he was just kind of like over the top. He was what the 80s was.
Yeah, he had that laugh. He had like all of his weird lines and everything, but he didn't like. He wasn't really friends with Charlie, and I think I liked this route better, where they had used to be friends, but Charlie was like,
I do like that they explored that a little bit more and gave you like the background of how like their falling out kind of led to Ed, taking the deal or whatever. When he got in that pool, I was like, baptize the pool.
I know, that's what I was saying.
Bless the pool. Like, we can finally know.
Yeah,
bless the pool. And I want to say that in Peter Vincent's kit, like, he had some very small stakes. I'm like, that's basically pencils. Like, he took that's a valid idea. Like, them like pencils, man. I'm telling you, it's wood. Same shit.
Stab him.
I like how we saw their other friend Adam. He gets taken right in the beginning.
Yeah, he gets eaten.
His whole family gets taken in the beginning. And then that's why Ed is like, we have to go over there. And I love the interchange where Ed and Charlie are talking back and forth. And he's like, I'm seriously so mad you think I read Twilight.
Yeah, I did love that.
I love that. I'm like, yes, you should be angry. That's valid.
Well, 2 years ago, they were Squid Boy and Barnacle Jim and whoever the fuck they were,
They were role-playing whatever it was that they were doing.
Isn't that LARPing? Isn't that what it's called?
Something like that.
Well, it came over. I don't know if this was before or after Role Models, because it kind of goes in hand in hand to McLovin's.
That's true. He did his LARPing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the same character.
But Ed gets bit really early on in this one. Like,
I was surprised by that.
Yeah, I was too. Like, we see a lot more action from the get-go in this one than we do. For a while, it's just like Charlie's just like freaking out in the first one. Remember, like, he's spying on his neighbor, like he doesn't know anything. But this one, he gets right into the action. And I really enjoyed that. I feel like the pacing of this one went really well. I didn't feel like it lulled it very much at all. It
took me a while to figure out until they said where they were, where it actually took place, because you see the community.
Oh no! See, I was like CSI.
You see nothing but desert, and you just see this community with nothing around it but desert. I'm like, where are they? And then you find out they're in a little suburb of Vegas, which, like, okay, that makes perfect sense.
It's that little town you drive through on the way to Vegas. When you're almost to Vegas, that's Henderson,
where you
Nevada.
have to turn the corner to go straight into Vegas.
There you go. You're into Vegas.
I think there's like a liquor store right there on the corner or something right before you turn.
It's been years.
It has.
It's Henderson.
The beginning I didn't really like. The opening, I was like, it feels like a Tim Burton movie. Like, just the way that the opening credits happened, and then you go and you're looking at all these cookie cutter houses like in Edward Scissorhands, and
that's what took me.
Like, like, I was just like, I'm like, what are they going for here? But then the rest of the movie was completely different than the way that it felt they were setting it up to be.
Yeah, because to me it seemed like, okay, it's just going to be a middle of nowhere town because of how they set everything up, like how. And then when everything unfolds, it makes perfect sense on why he would choose that little town.
I do love that he was like, this is the perfect place. He can be up all night and sleep all day because it's fucking Vegas. Everyone works at night. Like, no one would think that's weird or anything. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yep. It's immediately, he told, he had the mom who was like, I work construction at night. That's why I'm not up during the day. She's like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's a total true story.
And as soon as I saw the stakes for the realty, I'm like, those things are going to come into play.
Oh yeah,
I just knew it.
Yeah, when she was loading them in the back of her car in like her first scene, I was like, yeah, those are gonna go through somebody at some point.
Those will come in handy later.
Yeah, but Toni Collette plays the mom, and I love Toni Collette as a mom. She just kills it in all her roles. She's amazing.
She's always the mom. Yeah.
She is.
She is always the mom.
But she plays it well.
Yeah.
And the one thing I did like about Jerry, this vampire, is he knew how to play the roles.
He did. He doesn't like, he's not out like making a lot of trouble or anything. He's just got his house. I mean, he does eat their friend Doris, but
yeah, but if his whole thing is that he just takes over and has like a tribe of people, the way they set up that little neighborhood to just be in the middle of nothing, and it's just that one isolated neighborhood, so like you could take over that whole isolated neighborhood one by one, which is what I feel like his ultimate plan would have been.
Yeah.
Because one of the things he did that I'm like, I never thought about that, and they actually address it, is when McLovin's character, when he's doing his surveillance and he starts getting chased by him, he goes into that one house and he tells them, "Oh, you can't come in."
Yeah,
and he kind of looks around. He looks around. He's like, he walks in. He's like, "It's abandoned." And that makes you think, it's like, okay, what does? happen?
That, and when he's like, "There's no house to invite me, and if I burn the fucking house down."
Yeah, I thought about that too. That was
like,
smart.
oh shit, like that makes fucking sense. Like no one ever thought of that shit. Like, like vampires would be like, "Oh, dumb." Like it's like that line he says, like, "You thought you were gonna come in here and with your crosses or whatever."
Oh, and erase 400 years.
400 years of survival instincts or whatever. And I'm like, that's a good fucking point, man.
Yeah,
and he was one of those ballsy vampires too, because when Charlie holds up the cross to him, and he's like, "Oh, you better have faith," and he's acting all scared, then he just puts his hand on it and it bursts into flames.
Yeah.
See, I think the viciousness that they brought to the character is definitely in not only Colin Farrell's acting, but just I think the overall character they were going for. He was much more vicious and like lethal, but it was like
and weird.
He was weird, but he liked to toy with them too.
No, there's when he comes over to borrow the beer,
and
they have the most awkward conversation of ever.
Well,
like,
see, okay,
he's like, "Your girlfriend is ripe."
Okay.
I'm like, ew.
That scene to me was equivalent to when. In the first one, when Charlie comes home and the mom is there and they're talking.
Oh,
already.
like the back door. I could come in the back door.
I come in the back door. Like that's the same thing. Like he's like, "Your girlfriend's ripe for the plucking." He's like, "And so's your mom."
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
I love how like he plays with it though, because Charlie's like, "Well, let's see if I can get him to enter my domain without him realizing it."
At that point, he really wasn't sure because his friend Ed had gotten eaten and he didn't know that yet. And he's kind of on the fence of whether or not to believe everything that Ed had just said, because I forget if he had seen the
I think this was after he saw that footage.
Was it after he saw
it?
It
was, because he went to Ed's house that right before he came home.
Okay.
Yeah, this was like right after he saw that fucking footage, and then Jerry. I love that they do make fun of his name. He's like, "Oh, Jerry the vampire."
Jerry the vampire.
Real scary.
Yeah,
that's a really scary name.
No, I liked how, of course, it was the nerds who had been surveilling the vampire the whole time.
Yeah, it was the LARPers.
The LARPers noticed the warning signs. They were like, "There's a fucking vampire in our neighborhood. We got to get this shit going."
Well, I loved how when they did the video of him, he didn't show up. They're like, "Oh, there he is." He's like, "He's not showing up on the video." When you see him get out of the truck,
it was nice how they kept playing with it throughout the movie, and it was kind of a reoccurring thing.
Later on, when there's like surveillance videos or whatever of like in the building.
Yeah, when they're going up to Peter Vincent's lair or penthouse, whatever you want to call it.
And I liked that this one had more fighting scenes. Like they really took the vampire.
There was a lot
more
action, and there was a lot more action and a lot less like just silly little mistakes. I think when we talked about the first one, the vampire was like, "Okay, why wouldn't he just go do this?" Like when they call, I think the Peter Vincent called him. He's like, "Oh, we'll come over tonight." He's like, "Oh, all right, we don't have to kill him tonight. Let's just let him come over tomorrow, and we'll prove we're not a vampire." And like he just the silly like toying kind of shit. And like with this one, I think with the viciousness, he was just like, "All right, well, I'm just gonna fuck you up then." Or like, "All right, well, I'm gonna just blow your fucking house up." Like I'm glad that when he finally told his mom and his girlfriend that. It escalated to a point to where it's like, okay, what the fuck's going on? And it's like, but even though it took until he got his fucking hand, his vampire hand through the van at the bottom, for them to be like, okay, that's a fucking vampire. He's not lying. Like he's actually a fucking vampire.
Yeah, and I loved how he was like, "Mom, you have to believe me. You have to believe me." And she did. She said, "Go get the cops then." And even though she was very reluctant to, but she still was like, "Okay, something's off here." And then he just decides to blow up the house. And
she actually believed her son over the stranger next door.
Yes.
See, when he started doing that, I'm like, what is he doing? Because he gets the pail and he starts digging. I'm like, oh, he's going to dig himself under a tunnel and then go up that way. But when he pulls the gas line, I'm like, oh.
I thought he was looking for like, I was thinking like an electrical line or something he was getting. I'm like, why is he going to all this trouble? Like, what the fuck's he doing? Like,
there was a lot of other things too that I was thinking of, because it's like, I remember when he was at the door when they were doing the beer thing, how he kept looking at the frame. The one thing I was thinking of was, okay, maybe he's going to break the frame, so now technically it's not a door.
But then I still think you'd have to be invited.
You'd still have
to
because the windows would count too. Like if a window's open, that's not an invitation.
I was really hoping that he was gonna pull like what Billy Zane did in the Tales from the Crypt movie, and like he was gonna like cut himself and like demons were gonna come out of that hole or something. I was like, come on, like that would have been cool.
I did like that they kept the whole Amy and Charlie situation where she's trying to bone him and he's
like not having
He's clearly been traumatized from the discussion he had with Jerry earlier about everybody.
I'm like, she wasn't going to believe that the guy was a vampire right away. Because I still think, he may or may not have been on the fence about it himself, Charlie.
Yeah.
But it was definitely like, look, I just had a really weird conversation to where the next door neighbor wanted to bang my mom and you at the same time kind of thing.
Yeah, so I'm just going to, can't have sex right now.
I'm sorry if, boner's the last thing on my mind. Sorry.
But then he sees their friend Doris is going in, and I didn't, at first I was like, okay, it's just rehashing the old things. But when Charlie goes back and breaks into the house, I loved that he had like little hidden cells. I was like, okay, that's creepy. Because it is like, it's not that they went down and there's a dungeon, how like in the older movies it would be. But like he just had drywall and made with doors in their cells. And I was like, that's interesting. And then when we find out later that he's like a pack, he was making a new pack. Right. It makes sense. But
they were cells, basically.
I loved when Doris is escaping with Charlie, and then they hit the lawn, and she just fucking explodes.
Yes. See that comes out of nowhere.
Because you knew Jerry was toying with them, like the whole thing where he was going back for the apple, and they were kind of trying to go around the stairs. I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
With this guy, with his, sense of smell and just everything,
People that are not vampires hear people coming down the stairs because stairs are fucking loud. Like no matter what kind of stairs you have, they creak, they
not
move.
Even just the fucking stairs. I'm like, when they were just moving back and forth, I'm like, just bitches like half dead and like shuffling. Like there's no way they're not gonna fucking hear anything.
So I did like though that Charlie stuck by her. Like he really was trying. He was a very good character. This one, I liked him. He didn't want Ed to go missing. He was just kind of having a high school douchebag moment, and everybody has those.
And the other thing too, you gotta love is how they play the vampire thing, because he tried looking for the reflection in the mirror and he wasn't showing up.
Yeah.
So he kind of had to figure out where he was without relying on any sort of reflection or shadows.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question. I know a reflection doesn't work, right? So through a mirror, you can't see the vampire, or whatever. So you can see through a window still, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could still see through a peephole. Mm-hmm. Okay, then all right. That was I was confused about. So it's like it should be able, because it's not really a mirror, but I guess you're just looking through a window basically.
Pretty much. But I love that Charlie in this one also has his manic sharpening knife or sharpening his wooden stakes.
Yeah, all we were missing were the empty Twinkie containers and his cum rags.
His cum rag after he fell asleep.
But yeah, back to what you said, Angie. I love how when you think they're in the clear and all of a sudden she just bursts into flames because you don't realize at that point that she had already turned.
Yeah. I know.
At least enough to burst into flames.
Mm-hmm. I like that they played around with like this is its own clan of vampires, so they do this thing versus this one. Like I like when they go deeper into mythology without making it boring, and I thought that they did really well here. And a lot of it is because of Peter Vincent and his like artifact room, right?
Yeah.
And I really love because they're going through, they're fighting him, and then they explode the house, and they end up back at Peter Vincent's, and then the vampires find them there. And he gets freaked out, and he opens his panic room and just fucking runs in real quick.
And takes out McLovin's arm.
Yeah, no, like he totally is like, I've got this thing that's going to save me from the vampire. Like he's pointing one of those nails or something at him, and then he just gets the remote and opens his fucking panic room and books it.
He realizes I'm in over my head, even though he's fighting McLovin.
Which makes it even funnier that I'm like, you're afraid of fucking McLovin. Mm-hmm. Even though it's McLovin the vampire. Now he's McLovin the one-armed vampire. He was, it was like, what's his name? Pee-wee's character in Buffy when he loses the arm.
Yeah.
He can do anything.
But I love how he does redeem himself, because they play on the fact that you find out later that Jerry actually killed his parents.
Yeah.
Because he was traumatized by that, and that's why he did his whole thing, and he ended up turning it into that Vegas thing.
I'm glad it was just like one line, where like you get Peter Vincent's backstory. He's like, I chose to just not believe it after I saw him kill my parents or whatever. And I love that it was just the line that Jerry had later. He's like, "Look at you all grown up."
Yeah.
And it wasn't like we don't need to go into that. We don't need to see it or do any of that shit. Like,
we don't need to backflash.
I'm glad it was just there. Yep, and that's it. It's not a big deal. Like,
he had that.
You know who it is.
He said how he had his mother's eyes and he was
his father's aim.
Yeah, his father's aim. Yep. Oh, better than your father, I guess. When he finally hits him. But I just... Peter Vincent in this one, David Tennant, just bravo. He brought so much fun and flamboyance to that character that he needed to be for that like over the top.
It did, the Chris Angel guy.
Yeah, the Chris Angel guy. And then, but like when he's not in makeup or whatever, he's just a drunk and like he's got all these issues and he's just pissy with everybody. I loved it.
We're forgetting, I think, one of the best characters. I think Ginger was her name.
Ginger?
She was the assistant or whatever.
Yeah.
She was the best part of the whole fucking thing.
She was like, fuck you. Fuck off. Like,
fuck like, you. Someone's got to.
Someone's got to.
Oh, she was awesome.
I know, and then he was like, "Get the door." She's like, "I'm watching my programs." Like, just
like you're TiVoing the fucking thing.
I think I personally got a fucking headache watching Peter Vincent drink that much fucking Midori.
Oh, I know.
I'm
like so sweet. Stop
my teeth hurt and my head hurts just watching all that. Like, gross.
I love, though, that when he is taking off his tattoos, he's just using the Midori to get rid of them. He just puts it on a rag and wipes
Midori
it off.
bath.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, God.
When Charlie goes into Ed's room and he's looking through all his stuff, and he's looking at that notebook that he has, and it's like, vampire kit, and then, he has drawing for like his vampire gun. I totally thought back to Superbad. I'm like, he's going to see like vampire dicks, like a bunch of dicks in the notebook again. I'm like, God damn it, Ed. Like, this is why I don't hang out with you anymore.
Probably.
They're drawing dicks everywhere.
I like that evil Ed kind of, not redeemed himself, but when Charlie takes him out, he's like, it's okay.
Like, thank you.
It's okay.
It was a nod to the original thing without being like overly emotional or sappy.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of like, it's okay. Thank you, kind of in essence. But
that's what I got from him.
And even though the CGI left me wanting in a few parts, I liked how he just went to ashes. I thought that was a cool effect.
I do love the vampire deaths. I think this one, I think the second Blade, I think are probably my favorite vampire deaths, where it's just burned and ash kind of stuff like that. So
they just burn.
Yeah, it was good. I like that. Thumbs up for that.
Too.
So that's the only part of the CGI I think I have anything good to say about.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending of the CGI with his face. I think
that's what killed it for me.
Yeah.
Because like I said, everything that I loved about this movie was the beginning. It was just the last battle is what killed it for me. The ending of how, because the thing about it, and you think about it this way, is you see the Colin Farrell character the entire time, and you want to see Charlie or whatever need be beat Colin Farrell. I don't want him seeing beat this weird CGI monster, and I think that's what did it for me, because it's like everything that this movie built up for was Colin Farrell.
It should have been practical makeup, like just some pieces you applied, because it really is like it's a vampire movie, so at one point the protagonist is going to fight the vampire, and the vampire is going to vamp out and be all the extra vampire-y or whatever the fuck you want to say, and it's the climax, right? So you knew that was going to happen or whatever. I'm like, you could have, some prosthetics, put some stuff on there.
The thing that it took me back to is in the original Blade. Did you guys ever see the original ending where Stephen Dorff's character turns into La Magra, and it's like a big weird like blood tornado, whatever it need be?
I think I've seen it. It's like a deleted scene or whatever.
When the director talked about it, it made perfect sense, because I applied it to this movie. He said that, again, they built the character all the way up until the movie, and then all of a sudden you see it fight this weird CGI monster or whatever need be, and it doesn't pay off to the buildup it did. You would rather see them fight the actual person rather than what they become.
Yeah.
And I think this is what happened with this one too, because like I said, I remember that. I'm like, I want to see him fight the actual person.
Yeah, if you go too far with it, it definitely, it really does take it out. Because I think it's just one of those things where you're like, I hate that fucking character. I hate that fucking character. I need to see that fucking character die. Yeah. And then you don't really get to see that actual character die if it is just like a CGI replacement.
That's what it did it for me, because you have Colin's Jerry as this weird vampire CGI monster, and it's like everything that built up for it just kind of went to the wayside, because now the character that you wanted to see get his ass kicked and you wanted to see him get his due, and now all of a sudden is something completely different from what you were used to.
Yeah, it's just a weird face. I didn't mind like the blue veins that they gave everybody. I thought that was cool, but yeah, the face at the end, I didn't jazz
like
with.
If they would have stuck with the blue veins and they would have stuck with the prosthetic teeth, it would have been fine for me. But when they went just that little too far by turning into a weird Baraka looking vampire is what just did it for me.
Yeah, I liked Amy's transformation. I didn't mind her mouth and full of teeth. I liked it better than the original prosthetic.
Yeah, there's less of the lusting over
a 16-year-old
child in this movie than there was.
Which is good.
At least Jerry was like, I'm gonna bang the stripper from across the street.
Yeah.
Or
she wasn't a stripper. She was a cocktail go-go dancer.
A go-go dancer. Yeah.
She's like, take 2 pieces of clothing away. She's a stripper.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed and particularly want to point out the fact that they actually ran him over in the car. When they're chasing away, when Jerry's chasing them in the truck and all that, and they get in that accident, and then they're driving away, and that's when Charlie goes, hit him. And he grabs the wheel and they actually fucking hit him. I'm like, yes, every time in movies, no one actually hits the fucking characters and they just drive by. But I do have to point out, as soon as they heard shit underneath, they're like, oh my God, he's under them. Like, get off road right now.
That's what I told
like, make it fucking, like, you have to just make it not worth it. Like, even in the car, like, it doesn't matter. Like, just like start driving on the fucking dirt. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, just fucking make it worse for him.
That's what I told Kim. I was like, why do you have to stay on the road? There's a bunch of you're in a desert, which means there's going to be a bunch of shit on that ground. You do whatever you can to try to get him off.
Oh, yeah. Especially if it's like a main highway in between like a suburb city to a big city. That road is going to be nasty.
Yeah, I imagine that's like the picturesque road they always have, like when they're showing those travel shows or movies where you're going to Vegas and it's that one dirt road. Like, think of when they're driving in Fear and Loathing, like that road where they're going down. I'm like, that's just dirt road on the side. There's probably dead armadillos on the side of the road. Like, hit something. Like, just drive over shit.
Rocks,
it doesn't matter.
There's
not that much
because
there's not much clearance under that van or whatever the fuck it was they were driving.
Yeah,
so I'm like, you just fuck Jerry up, man. Jerry the vampire.
I know, but Jerry comes at them hard. I mean, even after the exploding the house, when he attacks the car, like, he just throws the fucking bike at the back of it at first.
Yeah. What did what did Amy tell her fucking mom? Because she was like, "No, it's not a party. I love you, Mom. I'll be home tomorrow.
We're probably not gonna sleep tonight." Like, what are you saying to your mother?
What lie are you concocting that you're just crying and getting off the phone? Your mom's like, "All right, well, have fun then." Are you neglected, Amy? Is that why she's always over at their house? Like, my mom's drunk and she doesn't love me and we never have food.
I love how when they do leave the hospital, he puts up all those crosses and the nurse looks at him like, what are you doing?
She's religious. This was the excuse he gave her. And I loved those little things. Like, because it did when they pan back and it shows you the room, you're like, that's a lot of crosses.
Yeah, you put them everywhere.
Just give her the garlic necklace.
I know. But this movie was so fun. Again, it does rehash a lot of the old vampire lore throughout, media and stuff like that. But I thought it took it deeper with, that it killed Peter Vincent's parents before they had this mythology with his kind of clan of vampires. I really liked that. And it made it kind of more fun too when they have the final battle. Instead of just like the original, they had one lone like servant or whatever, to have all those other ones come out. And it's creepy how they crawl out of the wall. I really liked that effect. But again, that also goes back to like old vampire movies, But yeah, I dug it. The thing
that he did do that I appreciated is when he went into his house and started immediately busting out the windows.
Yes.
Oh yes,
I was literally like, yes, finally, another one of those things that no one ever fucking does or thinks about. Like, start breaking the fucking windows now.
Because I started thinking that to myself, and then all of a sudden he starts doing it. I was like, yes, he's actually doing something practical that will actually help him out.
I liked. They all were smart in this one. I mean, they were all adapting differently to the situation, but I really felt like there wasn't many points in this film where I'm like, that's a stupid choice. Other than when Charlie breaks into his house to go find Doris. I'm like, no, Charlie.
You got to do it, man. You got to have your proof. I know there were a lot of puce jokes and white people breaking into houses casually. I'm like, what? This
a ton of B&Es, man. They're just
B&E, man.
Yeah.
Just like nothing.
Charlie just found online how to pick locks.
Yeah, on his phone. All right, well, you need this. You need that. Like,
I thought that was so funny because I'm sure that's a lot of views today.
I'm sure you could Google that right now and find like a website and a YouTube video at least.
There's a YouTube video for everything. They'll show you how to do everything.
Yes.
If it's not on YouTube, it's on Reddit.
But for me, my favorite part, I love David Tennant in this character. I thought he was so funny as a drunk. Like when they get to the end and they're at his house. And he's like, give me a couple drinks. I'll try anything.
I'm a cheap date. If you give me a few drinks, I'll try anything. Let's go.
I loved his character, though. And, like, he still tries to fight, and he has all those tools like the original did. But it's just done in so much of a flamboyant way that David Tennant can really bring to that character.
The Army surplus guy.
Oh, I love the Army surplus store. I'm like, that's Nevada.
It is really. He's like, oh, I want this. I mean, and nothing that he had was really that, out of the ordinary. I mean, he could have just been like, look, I'm going hunting. Like all he had was boots and, supplies and a crossbow. But I love the fact that he was like, I'm going to go kill a vampire. And the guy's like, good for you.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's Nevada, though. They have a shit ton of Army surplus stores. You see them from the Vegas Strip. And I'm sure that's how people in there have to be. You don't want to know what they're doing with that shit.
Tell your friends.
Right? We'll give you a discount next time you come back. If you come back, right, kid?
Jerry did the Bram Stoker's Dracula thing to where he sliced a little bit of his chest to get the blood out so Amy could suck from it. And like that's straight up 1992 right there.
I thought it was really creepy how he put the blood on his finger or on his mouth and then kissed her. I was like, ew.
Well, that's one way to do it, I guess.
But then I like that Peter Vincent, even though he was over the top and flamboyant, and when they added the mythology and whatnot, like he still had practical things that he had been researching, and he's prepared to be a vampire killer.
Yeah, I mean, well, to me, it was like all that other stuff was just kind of decoration for his collection. It was kind of the mythology of the Peter Vincent performing character, to have like, he has this museum of shit. But it was like the random pieces that he had and the little shit that he had in the actual fucking the safe or whatever. And I'm like, that was like his all right, this is the side that he couldn't put away kind of to me. He's like, I pretended like it wasn't real or whatever, but he's like, I still have this shit.
And I like how he immediately pushes Charlie out when Charlie tries to show him those pictures of
like,
all the
here.
stuff. Yeah,
like, get the fuck out.
He sees that the crest or whatever.
Yeah,
the crest is what brings him back. And like you're saying, he has that, the stuff that gets too real for me in that little safe over there, so I don't have to see it. Like he'd put it all in there.
It really is like he's putting that it's almost like mental health. Like he's putting all his bad stuff there.
In a safe.
It's like he knows where it is.
Can't hurt me if it's over there.
That doesn't work that way because you're drowning in fucking Midori because it's not working. But hey, I mean, if you could use that depression or anxiety and, be a performer in fucking Vegas and make probably millions a year, then hey, whatever.
Make that money. But
which makes you wonder if, what's his face? Chris Angel's acting like that.
I don't know. He's sad. They're all sad. They're all sad.
It's all a character.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what you got to do. But hey, if people pay me for character you make up, you make. There's cheaper.
Acting's acting.
Shittier ways to make money.
Acting's acting. So make your money.
I loved the fire guy plan, is what I called it.
Oh yeah.
And it's so funny because like when they're talking about it, David Tennant's just like, you got to be on fire and then you can take him to the heart. It's like a completely crazy plan, but like they practically put it together, and I really enjoyed that. His LARPing clothes, I guess, came back into play. Was that what it was, or did he get a jumpsuit at the Army surplus?
I think he just got all that stuff with the Army surplus because I think he was like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna go for it. I might as well get a fire suit, I guess.
Yeah.
So like, what if? Because at the end, when they stake him through the heart, and like his clan comes back to humans, right?
Yeah.
Like, what does little baby Franco tell his mom and dad? Like,
what do they remember?
And like, okay, so if you've killed somebody and you've drained their blood, like, you know that forever, right?
He says that one line.
Okay,
like,
but
that was a strange night.
Oh, that was a hell of a night or something.
Weekend or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, but if anyone that they drained or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like if he would have, then wouldn't they be part of the tribe too or whatever? So I don't know. Does that count? Like if Jerry bites Franco and Franco bites David Tennant?
Just a pyramid scheme at this point.
So does that mean that if they had successfully turned Peter Vincent, would he be under Jerry's
or Franco's
dominion? Yeah. So, but if you kill Jerry, then Franco turns back. So does that also? I don't know. We could know. What's the lineage and who do we talk to about this?
We need
Chris Angel on the phone.
No, we just need that pyramid. Billboard or not billboard,
the genealogy tree.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Well, it kind of does because they always have that one thing. You have to kill the head vampire to get everybody to turn back to normal.
Yeah.
Like if you kill one of their subordinates, it's just going to kill them, but it's not going to bring anybody back that they had turned.
All right. Well, I guess that makes more sense because isn't like the old ones like if you kill like the original vampire.
Yeah.
No more vampires exist.
No more vampires. World. Yeah. I liked when they were in that pit, though. The basement was creepy.
Yeah, it was.
But it was just because it was completely, like, it was just dirt and, like, a pit, basically,
you had
right?
to get to the dirt, basically.
Yeah. And I really liked it when, like, even he's shooting through the floor to get the lights coming down. And then Peter Vincent starts smoking. Like, his hand is like, what? My hand is smoking. I don't know what that's about.
Like, I'm turning.
You got to do something quick.
But I liked, and again, it was just how he was like, well, shit. Like, it was just a little comment,
and that's just David Tennant, though, because usually when he does those characters, he has that sarcastic, sly type of demeanor that he does in everything.
It's very much his dry,
I'm melting
Scottish humor.
Yes.
He's so perfect in this movie, though. I liked him, but I liked his character better than I liked Charlie's.
Yeah, Charlie was just kind of there in this one, I feel
he was the main character, but yeah, he was like, he didn't, I don't know how to put it, because I don't feel that he really pushed the story forward.
Not until the end, like the final act, and finally, Charlie, get off your ass and do something. Like,
yeah.
Well, Ed tried to convince you, and it took you not too long to convince Amy and your mom because, the whole gas line situation. But now that you're on board, then finally going to do something, I guess.
That's the little thing that kind of threw me off a little bit is at the beginning when Ed was the one who was taking this all seriously. And then to me, it seemed like, okay, at first when it started, I was like, okay, are they going to flip it and make Ed the one who thinks that everything's going on and everything's bad? And then everything that happens with him, and then it just evolves into a Jerry story.
Yeah.
I thought it was just going to be the Ed thing.
Yeah. I liked that they took it and updated it to where, because in the beginning, we didn't know if Ed and Charlie were friends in the original. We were like, does he like this guy?
That was always like, because I think even the other podcast, we were like, are they even friends? Like,
yeah.
He shows up at his house and just walks in. And like, it seems like he would know him, like his family knows him. And
I liked how they updated that story and why they called him evil because of their LARPing and stuff like that, right? Like they just made it dorky, but I think that the whole, growing apart is a normal part of life, and it's a normal part of high school. Yeah. And when you want to, start having sex with ladies and not, walk around in your LARPing outfit, I guess you got to trade one for the other.
Hey, you know what? If you want to go LARP, go LARP. There are some chicks that will LARP and have sex with you. So just do what you want to do, man. Mm-hmm. There's chicks and dudes that will want to have sex with you no matter what you want to do. All right, just LARPers, do your thing. But just stay out of the fucking way, though. That's one thing I gotta say. Just get the fuck out of the way if you're at the park or something, man, because you don't own the fucking park. You don't own the park. Just get out of the way. And you know what? Never mind. Quidditch is not a real fucking thing. Don't be doing that shit in the park.
Funny story. I've been to a park where I saw the LARPers show. No, I saw them show up because we did something for work where we went to one of the parks in what is it? South Mountain.
Was it LARPing for work?
No.
We're just trying to have a company picnic here. Can you get your LARPing asses out of here, please?
This is the job that we...
This is the portal.
This is the job that we formerly shared. They had some sort of exhibition thing out there, and we went out there, and there were a bunch of LARPers, and I'm like, I want to stick around and see this. I want to see how bad it gets.
Nope, I'm out. I wouldn't have anything nice to say, so I just need to leave the area after that point.
You know what? You LARP all you want. Just get out of the damn way. That's all we ask, all right?
Yes. And I know it's been really hard for the cosplayers and the LARPers this year being stuck inside. I mean, that's the most social. Well, that's the most social they usually get.
Is there virtual LARPing? Like, do you think
there should be
Zoom
LARPers?
Like a Zoom LARP?
Are you okay? We wanna know. It's been a rough year for everybody.
Do you think LARPers listen to this fucking podcast?
I think everybody should listen to our wonderful podcast.
I think everyone should listen to it. So if you know a LARPer, tell them to listen to our podcast. Larry, I'm talking to you, Larry. Larry, if you're listening right now,
Larry the LARPer.
To you. No, I wasn't saying Larry the LARPer. I'm saying maybe Larry out there knows a LARPer.
Maybe.
Right? Sorry, it's alliteration, and LARPing is.
Reach out to your LARPer and make sure
you got that weird fucking cousin Larry that LARPs that you don't talk to. Be like, hey, listen to this podcast.
Yeah,
they're talking about you in this episode.
Yes, specifically you.
So thanks, Larry. The one thing I did want to say at the end when. Wait, did they show what happened to the mom at all, or did she just remain in a coma?
She just remained. We didn't see her at the end.
We didn't see her at the end,
no.
right? Because then it just jumped, like they saved everything, and then it jumped to Charlie and Amy finally going to bone in Peter Vincent's lair, right?
Yeah. I love when he comes in. He's like, I'm going to look. If you're naked, I'm going to look.
No, when he comes in, I was like, it would be a tasteless joke, but it would be in keeping line with the Peter Vincent character. And be like, you could use Ginger's room. She's not going to need it.
Because all of a sudden you get what? I don't know, flash forward to, I don't know, a week, a month, whatever later.
Yeah,
it's the next night. The mom's still in a fucking coma. And they don't
no, she's up. She's awake, remember? Because she
I don't know. That's what I just asked. You guys said it in a row.
Right. She calls.
That's right. That's right. She calls and he's like, Mom, I've got my dick in my hand right now.
Right.
Launch codes.
Gotta go.
Launch sequence has been initiated.
He has that one little line. She's like, what are you guys up to? He's like, oh, no, something just came up.
Yeah. Don't tell your mom that. Just don't answer the phone. I mean, like.
But what if she keeps calling? What if she's one of those moms?
I get. Well, I mean, after a vampire tries to murder your son, anybody can be one of those moms.
She's a single mom already, so she's probably worried about her son. And then, the vampire next door almost fucking killed us and blew up our fucking house. So, yeah, she's going to keep calling. So he had to have answered that.
I don't think she was in a coma. I think she had a concussion or something from the car accident.
Yeah, because
I know she's not in a coma.
Well, yeah, she falls, but then after she does fall, he checks her head.
Why did she fall? Like, what?
Because I think she passed out after the accident. Yeah, but her head was bleeding.
I don't remember her head bleeding.
She stabs. Well, that's what happens when she falls down.
Oh, yeah, she stabs him and sees him freaking out.
Yeah, and then she passes out, and they look down, and they're like, oh, shit, she's bleeding. So I think she had got something from the crash that they were in. Okay. Yeah.
Her adrenaline ran out after she stabbed him.
Yeah.
She's like, my job is done.
My job is done. Pass out. Yep.
Take me to the hospital.
But I love this movie. This one was so fun, just like the original one.
Yes.
There's no big stakes, in just watching a fun, stupid horror movie. And this one brings in greater mythologies. It's got comedy. It's fun. I enjoy it.
It's got Werewolf Franco for no reason.
He's not technically a werewolf.
Eddie Munster.
He's a werewolf. If anyone has eyebrows like that, you're a werewolf. He's
Eddie Munster.
He was Eddie Munster in this movie. I don't know, man. It's a good movie. It's not great. I don't know. They're both
It's
a
fun
good.
one.
It's fun. It's not what you expect, and don't judge it by the beginning either, because then it does really make you think of Tim Burton's Edward Scissorhands.
At all.
Yeah, you're gonna watch it now and you'll see it. I'll put it out. Thanks.
No, I'm just like CSI because that's where they were. They did a lot of cases in Henderson.
I'm like CSI and probably Criminal Minds. I'm like this, and was this just the house that was used in one of those shows that already had that set up with those?
Oh, I was looking. I was like, I'm pretty sure some bitch was buried in this backyard, and then they came over. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen this house before.
This house looks familiar. So
yeah. Like, oh, there's Grissom. He's in the back.
Do you remember that CSI where there was that swingers party and they were washing their dildos in the dishwasher?
In the dishwasher. Yes, I do remember that one. Yes.
That's not probably what that's for. I don't think that does anything.
Oh, don't wash stuff in the dishwasher.
Don't, you're supposed to.
You put plates in there.
Did you say you're supposed to?
You're supposed to.
In the dishwasher?
Yeah.
You're supposed to wash dildos in the dishwasher?
Yes. I don't know why I know this, but I know
Why do you know this?
I don't know why I know this, but I know this.
Kim,
well, I guess if you have a large quantity of dildos and you're passing them around at a party, I guess it's a good way to sanitize.
But does that sanitize it if you've got herpes dripping everywhere? And you think that's gonna?
God, I don't know.
The dishwasher's got herpes now.
Hey,
then what are you gonna do?
If you have herpes and you are going to a sex party, you are very irresponsible.
If you're going to a sex party, you're gonna get herpes. I don't know what. What? Okay, that's like saying, okay, I'm at a party, a little kid's party, right? And one little kid.
I don't like that you're
one little kid.
This to a little kid's party.
I'm at a little kid's party, and one little kid has a cold, right? All the other little kids are going to get a fucking cold, right? Now, amplify that to adult herpes party. Thank you. Good night.
Well, but if you're at a sex party, do you have sex with everyone at the party or just like one other person at the party?
Well, I'm saying if there's dildos just laying around and they just get used, like imagine this is the dildo bowl and then you put it back, right? What if somebody gets confused?
They do with pins now. There's a clean dildo.
Yeah, but what if somebody? What if in the heat of the moment someone grabs the wrong bowl of dildos and you're reusing the dildos?
I don't know if I've ever been in such a heat of a moment where I'm like, let me take this used dildo real quick.
But I'm saying they didn't know it was used. They grabbed from the wrong bowl is my point.
Kim's like awkward. She doesn't. She's
Kim, do you put your dildos in the dishwasher?
She doesn't know what to do. She's keeping silent.
Oh man. Horror PSA. Don't reuse a dirty dildo, folks. That's not hygienic.
And I think we're
apparently put it in the dishwasher.
Saul, what is your medical backing?
I don't know why I know this, but I know that.
Saul's horror PSA tip. Yeah,
put it in the dishwasher.
Just put it in the dishwasher. Is not. See, this is going to be a fucking ad for dishwashers. Like, not used for dildos. Like, it's going to be like the fucking
whirlpool.
The whirlpool.
Wash your dildos.
Yeah, what is that? Is that the guy that's in the suit that like he was running like to pretend to be the?
He's just
holding
a bunch of dildos. Yeah, that's the next commercial.
A bag
for
full of dildos. Like your dishwasher can hand 25 dildos.
Right, this podcast has gone off the rails. That's all for this week.
Well, we start talking about Colin Farrell and dildos.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Fright Night, great movie. Go watch it.
Rest in peace, Anton Yelchin.
Yes. Next week, we're coming back with The Return of the Living Dead, which is a great, fun movie.
It is in March, and it is requests.
Yes, requests. So send us your requests. You got a good movie you want to tell us about and make us watch? Or got a horrible movie that you want to make us watch? Send it in. We'll watch it.
Yes.
And we'll review it.
Something that's going to make Saul and Kim uncomfortable.
Yes.
I don't know. That's going to take a lot.
For you or for Kim? I'm more... I don't know.
I can watch a lot of crap.
What if it's like instead of killer sofa, it's like killer dildo?
There's a killer condom movie I've seen on Cinemax one night. It was an alien condom that came down and infected the other condoms, and they just had teeth.
From like a planet of condoms?
I think so, because they had teeth, and they were just condoms, like a bunch running around with teeth everywhere. And I was like, what is this?
Direxia 12?
It was one of those like Cinemax late night B horror movies that they always had.
I thought you said B-hole movies.
No, I didn't watch those, but I'm sure that was a thing on Cinemax.
B-hole movies could be a thing.
If you have any requests or tell us about a movie, you can email us at podcast@scarynerd.com. You can find us on all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can check us out on Patreon by going to patreon.com/scarynerd. You can find out more horror entertainment news at scarynerd.com. And that's all for this week. You guys got anything else?
No.
I want to say that if there were no rules in place, that there would probably be a used dildo section in personal classified ads.
Probably.
So,
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.